Welcome to The Current. Today's guest is someone who's been renewables long before it was fashionable. Starting from humble beginnings on a family farm during a global recession, they built Solmatix into one of the most established solar businesses operating across Ireland and Great Britain. Now turning over in the realms of 15 to 20 million and still growing. In an industry full of short-term operators and fast talk, they've built an 18-year legacy business rooted in trust, culture, and long-term commitment. Neville Bell from Solmatix. How are you? Welcome to The Current.
Thank you very much. No, here I'm good. That's a lovely introduction and such a reflection on Solmatix. It's been a joy. It's been a dedication. It's a way of life, and the commitment that and the proudness I have of Solmatix is second to none. So I'm thankful to be in an industry that's growing, and it's a joy to also be able to lead head on the leadership of the Solmatix company. It's just something proud to be in, and I'm going to say enjoy each day as its challenges, different routes, different customers, and meeting new people, and what's next, and where do we go next. And thankfully, you're in that position that there's opportunity and that allows here to see what's next. It wasn't so bleak days when we started out, but fast forward 18 years, as someone messaged on LinkedIn there recently, it was like it's a credit to be in business that length of time, but it's also been able to continue to grow. And I suppose when you're in a business like this, you don't look so much outside the box.
Yeah, amazing. We're looking forward to the story. We know there's going to be a lot of great examples and value you can give. So, Neville, let's go back to the beginning, back to that farm. Now, a global recession, renewables were not the mainstream. What were those early days actually like for you?
Well, my cousin and his wife founded Solmatix on our family farm. We're 2 mile from where our headquarters is. Family farm, our country road splits two family farms, and we commenced Solmatix based on designing a mountain system to sell into the trade and online sales right in the midst of when a recession hit. And we shortly after dug in deep and hard, and as some people say, bite your lip in regards to we then created Solmatix to be a design, supply and install and maintain solar business. And it's a big speak, but we cut the groove for others to follow. Before that, today you drive a short distance in Northern Ireland and you see solar panels. Well, we created that a space to allow that to happen, and I suppose others followed us. It's a bit like today that I've got some photographs of myself on top of the Danske Bank building in Belfast, and said, "Here now, you're not scared of putting yourself on top of the bank." I says it's not getting on top of the bank, it's staying on top of the bank. I says so those early days here were difficult, but they also were in, even in our countryside, people might have said and thought, how solar in this climate, will it actually work? And there was a lot of doubt and a lot of doubters. And suppose one of the bits was we dug in to be able to show here we can do this, we can prove others wrong. There were days where you maybe thought those doubters were right, but those were the days probably that you learnt the most, and you were able to dig in. And the years have just disappeared. To be 18 years in business last Friday.
Wow, that's a good commemoration as well. Congratulations, 18 years last Friday. So you mentioned a few moments where maybe you began to doubt even other people. And obviously, what made you confident that this would work and that solar would last and be adopted in the industry? Was there anything in particular?
When we went to China back in roughly the early days, we were able to see it because all modules, or majority of all modules on the market, come from China, designed and assembled in China. And those early days, they were all manual labor manufactured. And we seen solar under lab study and seeing what their radiance would be across the island of Ireland and GB. And we came back home and said we can make solar work in this climate, and it was literally making it and in the simplest form communicating why solar and why solar will work for you, and that feeling of trust that we delivered to customers in early days, that people thought, you know what, a solar calculator has been around a long time. and we were able to then deliver small scale domestic home solar. And one person had a good experience. And Northern Ireland is a small community, and they shared that experience with others. And soon we were doing 10 to 15 to 20 houses a week, and our business grew from 0 to 6 million, in a short time. And the team, if you want to say, grew from 3 people in a farm shed to soon greater than 30, on a large supply chain and subcontract basis. It quickly fast forwarded, and it quickly grew. We expanded overnight, and the Solmatix brand started to become recognized, and then other people seen what we were doing and then started to, do you want to say, create their own. But it was enjoyable. We met, so, and like today, even the relationships that were built in those early days, we just continue to build on them and grow from them. So the relationships is at the heart of Solmatix, of what we do and how we do it. As I always say to the staff in Solmatix, is it's all about the Solmatix experience.
I like that. And it sounds like, regardless of the rapid growth you've had, you still kept the right intention and the right ethos behind it.
Yeah, our early days, probably one of the glowing examples is that we started out doing solar thermal on homes. And we had a customer contacted us one day and said we were expecting you, and to get the installation to commence today. And they'd left their home open for us to do the works. And I've made a few inquiries, and the works was complete. We set our stall out in those days of, the photograph was taken of that customer's hot press, and how the towels, there are different items that were in the hot press, and those things were set out on the floor or set out in the customer's bed, and they were put back in just as we found them. So that's here customer's house, how you would want your own home treated. I'd come home from work and go, I've been needing and here to read up after tradesmen been in my homes. That has stood to us over the test of time.
That sounds good. Was there a moment in particular where you realized, wow, this is becoming a really serious business?
Probably whenever people walk past you, whenever we moved to one of our premises, because we've had different premises over the years as we've grown. And we were always keen on making sure all our team were all Solmatix branded in the appropriate clothing. One of the guys walked past me and he says, "Hello now," and I said, whenever and you don't, I like to know everybody's name and a bit of their background and everything with it. Do you want to say you can have a personal that personal relationship? And they want to say they knew my name and I didn't know them, and I went, here, it's either a good sign or a bad sign. But that's just how much it was like, sort of that sort of moment of, as you say, wow, this is a serious business now. It just the time seemed to disappear from um the family farm shed, but once you would have seen cows in, and then all of a sudden there were solar panels, and then all of a sudden we were at a new large premises with multiple offices, and thought anything is possible when you put your mind to it.
I like that. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Now, Neville, we know you're not just managing director, you, of course, are the family owner. Now, what does that responsibility feel like, especially when you're running at the scale you are now of millions?
For me, it's been able to stop and it take time for someone, no matter where it's someone off sick or someone that you're able to reach out, no matter in the midst of everything, and to make sure everybody's cared for. Over when I say my career, it's how you bring everything forward together. You could have a glowing month of health and safety, customer reviews, financials, and then look right the window and go, that van wasn't washed this week, and it's been able to bring everything forward together, because both I'm here to search for perfection, and that perfection is at heart, but it's been able to bring everybody on that journey with you, without suppose running the wheels off things, and or I'm probably one of those people that if you can demonstrate it one month, you can demonstrate it the next month, and then whenever you've achieved that, it's like, right, how do how do we improve on that, and always raising the bar. And that's here. There's nobody any harder on. I want to say myself or Somatics and me. And whenever I see what we've done, I think, right, we've done that. let's continue. We've achieved, I want to say that turnover, let's double it. And some, like, whenever we came to, whenever I completed and purchased, acquired the company back, a fellow director is, that's a big task of what you're thinking we can do. And I says, we can do it here. Have every faith, and now we're doing it. Sometimes look back on and think here, how was it achieved? But I'm fully thankful and blessed with so many different talents and skills over the years, and the different people and the team that we have at Solmatix. I'm a part of it. It's everybody working together, and it's that customer experience that people want to work with and why they want to work with. And I've asked many customers, why Somatics? Why do you like to do business? Why were we given that opportunity? I'm really proud and pleased with the response that I have received, and it's just continue to build on that.
Amazing. It sounds like you lead by example. You get action.
I tried.
Yeah, as best as you can. And I guess it's about raising the standards, not just for yourself. Guess you call yourself a perfectionist, but for what you give to your clients and what you expect of the team. That's really powerful. Now, I know me and you in previous conversation, you said something that resonated with me. You said culture can be measured by how people feel on a Sunday night before they come to work Monday. Now, what does that really mean? Could you explain and elaborate on that? Because I love it.
Well, if you have that sinking feeling and thinking, I've got a 6:30 in the morning start, or whatever it may be, or I'm flying out to such and such, and I don't feel valued. I like to think that everybody here knows here they're valued, and I've shared with them here the part that they play and the important part that they play in the business and how vital it is. So here, is it pleasant every day, and does everybody jump out of bed with the joys of spring? Probably not, but it's to making sure that here it's a place that if you have an issue or a problem or here a family matter that you feel you can share it confidentially, and here to support and care and help as best as possible. And we've also a job to do, but also here it's much more than that, because first and foremost, one of the things at Solmatics is, because we're mainly delivering solar on rooftops, is making sure everybody goes to work and goes home safely. There, safety is a priority. There's no corners cut. There's no half measures, and making sure here that is. I don't want to be making that phone call or arriving at that home to share what has happened today. That's here. That, above all, that's the bit that matters. Because 18 years, and we've had nothing of anything serious over that time, and like fall from height in I'm going to say construction industry is one of the main factors of death and fatality. So that's a bit of making sure here the role that you play and the responsibility you have.
Yeah, that's some really practical insights. And it's clear to see that you put your team's value at the foremost. So how do you manage to balance performance and I guess pressure with people? Because it's no easy feat to run a business like yourself. How do you manage to find that balance?
That's a good question. Suppose the balance is knowing on the bigger picture, not just looking at the short term win of how you going to achieve and get that performance and output and meet those goals or targets in the month. But meet them playing their part to deliver it together, so that if someone feels overload or they're on their own, they're not on their own. I'm always here. My fellow director Richard would say to me, he's always online, he's always connected. Suppose I'm one of those people, if you rang me in the middle of the night, I'm likely that the answer when the phone rings twice. It's just the way I am here. It's you never feel myself switched off from some Alex. It's just I'm always plugged in, and it's not always for it's no matter what it is, a small thing or a bigger thing. It's you want to say it can be from a customer point of view, or it can be from here. What do we need to do tomorrow, or what needs to be done next week? I'm trying to be as for me the main bit is the approach, and the communication. And if you try to keep those as balanced as best as possible, at least everybody knows where they stand, because it's that open culture that we have here that you see it said and also be willing to fix it. It's not about taking things personal. It's always on a professional level that here this is not personal. That's you want to say we've got a job to do, and here, we didn't get here by chance or by luck. We got here because we wanted to get here. It's, as I said to a guy yesterday, I remember the early days where it felt like you didn't have a phone line, you didn't have a broadband connection, because sometimes I would have questioned, does our broadband connection or even work, because the emails didn't come, and that had all to be created. So now when we're getting so many inquiries, I go, guys, don't complain about it. There was a time whenever that just didn't come in, and somebody had to make that happen. And that somebody was me, and that's why I'm proud of here what we do today. Don't rest in your laurels, because you want to say that can change so easily.
Yeah, that sounds, and it's all about perspective. I can see as well that you continue to build the team ethos, the team spirit. But you again are not afraid to get stuck in and to be available 24/7, and that is big respectable, especially.
No, we keep panels off site here, even at our family farm, for to have capacity. And one of the guys who were loading it said, whenever rushed home to get changed, to do you want to say, to get access into the farm where the panels were stored, said, I've never seen you dressed like that before. And I said, well, you haven't seen me on a Saturday then. So that, yeah, that's just the joys of it here. Your DNA doesn't leave you.
Yeah, it is who you are. I like that. So, there's a lot of different solar companies out there. Obviously, we can tell just from how the conversation you're different. What is it that actually makes Solmatix different?
We're unique in regards to we're all about the customer, and sometimes people will say to me, customer isn't always right. Now, well, I says I know, but we always, even from the early days, our outset was designing a solar system to meet the customer's needs, not undersized or oversized. Get the data and size the system according to it, and being able to factually represent why we have our system size is this, and work to their needs so that they have a good solar experience. We could be doing ourselves and have done ourselves and adjust as many as a time, but at the same time, here we maybe lost sales or lost business, of being too honest. But that's the part of people that we are. That is here. A lot of people have come and gone in this industry, and we've been here to test the time. And here, we've always said we're a bricks and mortar company. We're here to get to your elbow, and work with you as your partner, and have that relationship for the long term. And sometimes, whenever someone may contact me today and say, "Now, what about exploring battery for my site, or home, or whatever it may be?" And I go, like, what's your export, or what's your experience, or why you feeling you think they need to go battery? And then we're able to back it up with, this is why you don't need to do that. It's a bit like whenever we launched at the start of this week. We grew up being very much a domestic led company. It was our bread and butter. As we started to diversify into the new build market and commercial, and then business to business, I looked at what it potentially could prevent people in the domestic home going, looking at solar and exploring solar, and it would be the initial upfront cost. So I thought, how can I make this easier? How can we provide something that no one else has? So on Monday there, we launched our 0% finance for domestic customers, so that they would we would ask for a 25% deposit, and then over a 10-month period, we would finance that at 0%, to allow people, do you want to say, just to take away a potential buyer, and then to be able to illustrate, well, you were paying, I'm going to say this, £150 a month on electric, and you didn't have an asset, but how to use your money differently. And then after those 10 months, what is your saving, and what does a return on investment look like? So it makes it much more attractive, and with thousands of customers that we can back it up with factual evidence of, he adopted, she adopted, and solar, and this has been the experience, and this has been their bill now, and that customer now is coming back. They've now added an electric car to their home, or so we want to look at battery storage. How can we do night time charging? So many different variables, and the product probably and the industry. It's like people have said to me of recent times, you're fortunate to be in an industry that's growing. I says, I know, but that industry had to be created many years ago, and we created that space. So some may ask me today, why do you want to keep growing? And it's more, I remember those early days of what it took to get to here. So it's like, whenever you're on this springboard, let's take it to the next level and keep going. And it's a fast moving To be successful in this industry, there's one word that stands out, and that is you've got to be reactive. Reactive to that phone call, reactive to that email, reactive to that customer in whatever way. You've got to be able to do that. And that's the business that we are.
It's clear to see that Solmatix is a one-of-a-kind business, and you put the needs of your customers. Launching the 0% finance, that's no small task, not just on a financial scale, but also on an operation side. And it's clear to see that you put your money where your mouth is. You care more about the client's ROI than chasing sales and chasing numbers, and being reactive in an industry where you see potential, not just coasting, but doing it not just for you, but for the benefit of everyone else and the opportunity. Now, we know that you've seen massive growth also in the business to business sector. What's changed? How have rising energy prices maybe reshaped the conversation you're now having? Is it more of a necessity instead of a nice to have?
The price of solar approximately 3 years ago. Sadly, whenever the war in Ukraine commenced, the price of solar dramatically reduced while the price of energy dramatically increased. And that just made that payback of solar much more attractive into that. I'm going to say, depending on the user's ability to on when solar is being generated, you can sometimes find that it can be a 3 year payback, and we always have been, and today it no different. We always underestimate the overachieve. So whenever a customer is making a decision, it's based on those facts, and we know we can stand by those. That's the bit that makes us different. We're not about manipulating data. We know what solar will do, because sometimes we find ourselves and the feedback is you're not the cheapest. But I said how we are is we will not be trying to get our feet under the table to start to deliver works for you, and then there's additional items that were not included in the small print. We're about delivering on everything that experience that you have with us speaks for itself, and also the product and the installation that you have left provides the results that you've invested in, and then that customer shares that, because majority of our business is 60 to 70% on referral and from reputation, and that just doesn't come by chance. That is relentlessly working at it and making sure we don't try to manipulate anything or want it forced to get a sale just for getting a sale, because that's short lived, and that's the, I want to say, short wins, and not interested in that.
Sounds like you guys are really building for the future and for the long term. And I guess maybe that's why you describe so much of your long term success comes from thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, here it has to be. It's the bit that you're doing for the climate, the bit that you're doing for customers, and it's your reputation. We've got many customers that invested projects of £500,000 and looked into the whites of my eyes to say, "Now, will it do it? Can it do it?" And for me, my answer's been, if you didn't, why would you think you're seeing so much more solar on rooftops around? And if you thought it was a gimmick, do you not think somebody would caught on by now? And it's continuing to deliver every time. But that's why, week in, week out, month in, month out, from, I want to say, I bought the business back over 2.5 years ago. That 2.5 years ago has just vanished. We were approximately turning over 3 million then, and today here we're at 15 million, and here both I've got it this far. It's now carrying the next bit. The hard bit's been done, so it's carried to the next level. I'm not saying it's the easy bit, but you know what's required, and you know how to do it. It's just doing more of it.
Exactly. That sounds good. Now, you mentioned some signature projects outside of Ireland. So, what is it that excites you about maybe expansion beyond home soil?
Suppose the challenge of it, I don't want to ever look back and go, we could have. I'm not one of those people that could have. It's always here, I want to achieve and put Somatics on the world map. As I said, that guy, I'm very much a motorsport enthusiastic person and following of F1 particularly. You see some of the kart racing. I grew up in the karting community in Northern Ireland from a lifetime, and those won't stop until here I'll put the Somatics badge on a Ferrari, a car, or I want to say Ferrari teamwear. So yeah, that's my ambition.
I can't wait to see them zooming around them. Now, I'd like to do a little rapid fire insight. So, if you could, I want you to answer in the briefest way, quick waffle. I'm going to ask very quick succession of questions. You okay for that? Are you ready?
Go for it.
Got that Ferrari speed that Solmatrix needs.
That's it.
Perfect. So, longevity or speed of growth?
Longevity,
Culture or cash flow?
culture,
Short term or 20-year vision?
20-year vision.
The most misunderstood thing about solar.
Does it actually work in the climate, even on a cold, cloudy, wet, miserable day? Why would I want to do it?
And I guess it does. Awesome. Thank you. We can relax. That's just a few surefire questions to get the brain going. Now, I can tell, Neville, just from this conversation, that we know you have great big goals and ambitions. Now, I always like to finish by looking forward. Now, if you'd allow me, I'd like to take you in my DeLorean. I want to take you all the way to January the 1st, 2027. Now, you're looking back at 2026. Now, 2026 has been a great year for Solmatrix. You've done exactly what you wanted to do. You've taken it globally. You started to talk to Ferrari about those next decals on the car. You managed to keep the company culture. You've not had any accidents again. Now, what would need to happen to make this year a defining chapter for Someone Six?
Just here, making sure it continues in the shape and form that it is, and people enjoy working, continue to work and enjoy working in the business, and bringing new staff to the team. And they also enjoy where the direction of it, and because when you're working in such a fast moving business to be successful, it's not for everybody. Everybody's roles and everybody's wish and want for life is different, and some people don't want the responsibility. Others are a leader and step forward for the responsibility. And it would be, if we've done a 2026, like what you've said, let's do a 2027, but let's make it better. And here, if we've achieved putting our name on the Ferrari car, right? What does someone else want in the team? What do they follow? Is it rugby, right? Well, let's see. Do we want to be associated with it? Does that fit where we are? And it's not about just what I want. It's about what others in the team, and they may have an aspiration of where we want to be and where we want to be positioned. So it's never about me. I'm just a part of it. I'll got it this far, and I'm happy that other people might have a stronger skill set than me, and it might be the skill set that's required for that era. I don't need to be always the person that's there. Not saying pushing it or leading it, and I don't mean it like that, but that they take that mantle on that people talk about. They hear of directors always on a golf course. I'm not interested in being a golf course. That others then get the benefits and then the enjoyment of what I've been blessed with in Somatics over the years, and it's been a way of life to me. That others here then have that and they enjoy that spell with it, and for me to be a part of it in some way, but not the driving force behind it.
That's very powerful. We have no doubt next year, if we're watching the Grand Prix or watching the Six Nations, we'll see that little Solmatrix banner and we know exactly why. Now, Neville, this has been truly powerful. 18 years of leadership, building from the ground up, humble beginnings, building not just for the short term for quick cash, but for something that lasts, something that benefits not just your hometown, but now on a global scale. Keeping people at the heart of your operations, always being available, reacting, allowing people to come to you. We just want to take a moment to thank you because we know, as you said, your job's not easy, but the companies that you're beginning to create and to build and the culture that you have, it really is an inspiration. So, Neville, we want to thank you so much for all of your great insights. And we know you're going to have the best of success with Solmatrix. So, thank you so much for coming on to The Current.
Thank you.
Thank you.